And we're back with Hearthstone Card Review Episode 5 for Madness at the Darkmoon Faire. It's been roughly about 24 hours since we recorded the last one, and I spent quite a bit of time editing, and we're right back into card reviews. Today is the 10th of November, so it's one day before all the massive card dump and the stream happens. And when that massive card dump happens, we're going to be getting somewhere around the scale of 60 cards. So that's half the set. The full set is actually 135 cards. And so tomorrow, all of these ratings that Taco and I have given could completely fly out the window as we stare at the card dump and see some 5-star cards there that completely change our perception of the meta. So after tomorrow, we're going to try to enter the Phase 3 section of the rating system and kind of really say this will be the meta. But for now, we're going to be still in Phase 1. While we are here today, the cards that were revealed today have put Shaman as one of the leading classes for the most number of cards we know so far. Shaman got a total of 6 cards revealed today. The entire Shaman package basically has been fleshed out. We've got 3 more cards for them coming. That was the other thing I wanted to say, which was the Reddit chart that we showed yesterday that I said was so beautiful was not actually very beautiful because they forgot to add 2 extra slots for everyone. Everyone was actually, instead of getting 8 cards, they were supposed to get 10. So all the classes actually have 2 more cards to show us on top of the 8 that I originally thought they would have. That includes Demon Hunter, which actually has 15 cards to show us total. But as of right now, we know the most about Paladin and Shaman, currently at 7. And the least about Warrior and Priest, probably going to be shown to us tomorrow in the reveal stream, and then we'll figure out more about them probably in the card dump. Yeah. How are you doing, Taco? Are you there? You
Yeah,
lost me?
I'm here. I'm doing pretty good.
You like any of the cards today?
They're. I mean, this like particular time we're in right now, I think Blizzard tends to save the super more interesting cards for tomorrow. But yeah, it's definitely looking. Some of these are pretty good, especially Shaman.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Shaman looks really exciting, and I'm going to take a page out of Blizzard's book. I'm going to keep all the Shaman cards for the end of the video to keep everyone holding their breath. Shaman's in a really bad spot right now in the meta, so you can skip over to the end of the video if you really want to, or if you want to suspensefully wait for the Shaman cards. You can suspensefully wait for the Shaman cards. We've got 20 cards to reveal today, so this should be a long stream. We're going to try and keep some of the cards that we think are really bad. We're going to try and keep those discussions very short. But yeah, besides that, let's jump into the first of the 20 cards because we've got a long podcast today to work through. So first card. First card is Insatiable Felhound. It's a 3-mana 2/5 demon for Demon Hunter, and it is Taunt, and it's a corrupt card. So it's Taunt, Corrupt, Gain +1/+1, and Lifesteal. So, wait, when I scroll over this, it should... Yeah, man, it usually gives me the corrupt version of it. But basically, what this is a 3-mana 2/5 Taunt, and when you corrupt it, it is a 3-mana 3/6 Taunt Lifesteal. I've got this currently at 1 star. I think this card will just never see play in the current Demon Hunter archetypes we know, mainly because Ashtang Battlelord did not see play in the current archetypes that we know. And this is... Ashtang Battlelord is a 4-mana 3/5 Lifesteal Taunt, and yeah, that's roughly the same. It comes out on curve pretty strong, and this thing needs to be corrupted to be slightly better than that. So, yep, that's all I got.
Yep, I agree. 1-star card. It's very solid for the stats that you're paying for, but it's just too fair and constructed.
Mm-hmm. I will say, if Highlander Demon Hunter actually becomes a thing, they're very likely to include cards like this with Lifesteal and Taunt for Il'gynoth of some sort, some kind of playstyle like that. But other than that, probably unlikely to see play. Alright, moving on to card number 2. This one is Taco's selection of this episode. We're going to do his early to this time. Fel Steel Executioner. This is another Demon Hunter minion. It is a 3-mana 4/3 elemental. And its corrupt effect is to become a weapon instead. So if you corrupt this card, it is actually a 3-mana 4/3 weapon. So Taco, yeah, tell me what you think about this card.
Yeah, I think this is a 3-star card.
Ooh.
It could be a bit higher. It has a lot of potential simply because of what Soul Demon Hunter is today. We all know what Soul Demon Hunter is. And I think this fits into it pretty well. So as a 3-mana card, it's decent stats. It's something you could totally play on 3 if you have nothing better to do. And you'll be okay. If you swing 4 to the face, a 3-mana 4/3, not terrible. But once you corrupt it, it's basically like an additional Marrow Slicer. And just having that consistent, like that constant pressure makes this really, really interesting. Being a 3-mana card, corrupting it also isn't that hard in Soul Demon Hunter. You have Marrow Slicers, which you run 2 of. You run 2 Lapidaries, 2 Skulls. This has a lot of potential. I could definitely see myself running this, but the question really is, how good would Soul Demon Hunter be in this new meta, which we haven't entered yet? Will it even exist, or what will it have to adapt to, like not get blown out by the Paladin wall? That I think is very likely to happen. So I can't give it any higher than a 3, but I really, really like the potential of this card.
So I originally, I agree, it's a really strong card in a vacuum, but I have this at 2 stars currently. That's a very generous 2 stars actually from me. I think what you're saying about it being a better Marrow Slicer is not technically true, because Soul Demon Hunter does need Marrow Slicer for activating the Soul Shard synergies. I think what happens in Soul Demon Hunter, this will not see play in Soul Demon Hunter, by the way, in my opinion, is that it competes with Marrow Slicer for not only swinging, like the swings, the durabilities, but mana cost as well. Like these guys, both like this weapon here and Marrow Slicer, they will come down on roughly the same mana point, and you just don't have enough swings to swing for full value for this guy, as well as like re-equip Marrow Slicer in time. And also the other thing is Soul Demon Hunter actually mulligans for Marrow Slicer quite often, and this is not a Marrow Slicer until you corrupt it. So it's really hard to play this on curve on 4, just like Demon Hunter likes to do right now with Marrow Slicer. I've got it as a 2-star only because I do recognize the power of this card. It is a 3-mana card that does 12 damage somehow. You can aim it straight at face. This is what Demon Hunter likes to do a lot. So I am looking at some kind of alternative mid-range Demon Hunter that might rise up that is not Soul Demon Hunter. And that's really hard to imagine. So I do have it at 2 stars for that, but I'm very hesitant for that.
Well, it's a compliment to Marrow Slicer, because so many times you have to hold a Marrow Slicer because you need to set up for that Blade Dance that might come. This just gives you more fuel because you just keep swinging. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. If that deck's still a thing, I really think people will run both, and this could easily go up. The star rating is just that that deck really seems more questionable the more cards we see. The burst healing and the more taunts and big cards that we have.
Oh, you're saying you're starting to doubt Soul Demon Hunter?
Yes, in the new expansion.
I don't think I've seen enough cards to doubt it yet, but it's certainly starting to slip. yeah, true. It's certainly starting to slip a little bit, but I think we haven't seen truly enough cards that will say like that will be able to like push through the burn that Demon Hunter can output. Of course I'm really happy if they can somehow get Soul Demon Hunter out of the meta. I would prefer this not be a meta tyrant twice for 2 expansions in a row. But yeah, I don't think this will be the reason why. But yeah, I think we got all our words out for this one. You said 3 stars, I said 2. We're both kind of needing more information, but you remain slightly more hopeful than I am on this one. All right. So let's move on to the next card. Oh, I just realized we're going in alphabetical order is what I did. So Druid's next for cards revealed after Demon Hunter. This is a big boy Druid card. It is an 8-mana Druid spell. Gain 8 armor and summon a random 8-cost minion. Okay. Not much to unpack here. This is an 8-mana spell. It competes directly with Guardian Animals. How strong is Guardian Animals? I roughly have Guardian Animals down here as roughly 10-10 in rushing stats. It refills your hand. It's super defensive. It's a huge tempo swing. Yeah, this is completely outclassed by Guardian Animals to me. Guardian Animals you do have to build around. Oh, this is 1 star, by the way, because it's completely outclassed by Guardian Animals. Guardian Animals you have to completely build around, but it's not really forcing you to include minions that you didn't want to have.
Yeah,
already.
I gave it an extra star. I think this is 2, just because healing 8, gaining 8 armor isn't a joke. That's a lot of healing, especially for a deck that needs every bit of health it can just to get to that late game where it just dominates anything. But yeah, it's just can't be any higher than that because random 8 cost minions. I've looked. There's a lot of giants, but on average, you're not that good. You'll get an 8 mana 8/8, which you're paying 8 mana for. You heal yourself for 8. Is it good and constructed? Probably not. That 8 mana card probably isn't going to have rush. Sometimes it'll have taunt. Sometimes it'll be an Octosari. And sometimes it won't. It'll be like a 5/5, Tortolan Pilgrim. So the variance on it, the low rolls that it could potentially be, it's just not good.
So you looked at the 8 drops. You say what? It's like roughly what? What's the average stats?
On average, they're very fair. I eyeballed it. It looks like you're probably going to get an 8 mana 8/8.
Okay. I think the real problem here is that it's just not Guardian Animals, and it's really sad that this card was printed in the same year as Guardian Animals because it probably will remain that way for quite a while. That this card won't see play just because of Guardian Animals. I'm ready to be wrong. 8 is a lot of healing to output. Druid has been able to ramp to 8 pretty aggressively. But yeah, we'll see. This is not Druid. This doesn't fix Druid's main problem, which is like getting that ramp consistently. So I'm not very likely to see this moving up anywhere for myself, at least.
Yep.
Moving on, we have Hunter with the Jewel of N'Zoth. This is an 8 mana Hunter spell. This is a big boy Hunter spell. Jewel of N'Zoth summons 3 friendly Death Rattle minions that died this game.
I gave this 1 star because I just can't see how a deck like this would function. Your Death Rattle minions have to be like kind of medium sized to high side for this to be good. There are some Death Rattle cards that draw cards, maybe just Loot Hoarder. That's the only one I'm thinking of. So you can't run Loot Hoarder. Hunter doesn't really have any natural draw. It's just really awkward. I don't think it really fits anything or getting that game state. I think you're just better off finding other ways to win games. Brand is still a card. 1 star.
Yeah, so when we talked before the video, before the start of this recording, you said 1 star, and I said 3. I was very surprised you gave this 1 because this card is really, really intense in what it does. This is N'Zoth. This is old N'Zoth right here, and it summons a lot of stats. This is the typical board in a box idea that I really don't want to underestimate. I have this at 3 stars. I think it's a major payoff for the Death Rattle theme. We could go through the Death Rattles again, but I did go through these when we were talking about Maxima Blastenheimer. I think that deck is actually starting to really come together. It does have the ability to run quote-unquote minions that aren't actually minions because of Secrets and Petting Zoo, and the new weapon, Ringling's Rifle, which activates all of these secrets and Petting Zoo. So what I'm trying to say is you can build your deck in a way where you don't have anything that will low roll you when you play Maxima. The only thing that will low roll you that I think must be in this deck is Face Stalker. I do think you do need to still cheat your secrets out, but besides that, I think we have a good amount of Death Rattles that I would be interested in playing in that deck, as well as reviving off of Jewel of N'Zoth. These would include Savannah Highmane, Teacher's Pet, Tonk, Darkmoon Tonk, and the next card that I'm about to pull up. I don't think you have anything else more to say about this, right?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, maybe if this was like for a different class, it probably would be higher. It just like being a hunter card really, really influenced my rating as well.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, yeah, this is a big hunter card. Hunter doesn't tend to like these big cards that come so late in the game. They're really aggressive on tempo on board. But yeah, let me introduce the next card. Maybe we can change your mind a little bit. I mean, I know you've seen this card already, but I'm about to give a spiel about it. And it would be this one right here. Claw Machine. Claw Machine is a neutral card, so I did put this out of order. This is not a class card, but I wanted to put it here next to Jewel of N'Zoth because I think we're talking about the same deck here. I think this card also goes into Death Rattle Hunter. It is a 6 mana 6/3 rush. Oh, this is a 6 mana 6/3 mech with rush and Death Rattle. Draw a minion and give it +3/+3. Now, because I think this also fits into the Death Rattle Hunter theme, I've also given this one 3 stars as well. It's very impactful when you get this off of Maxima. It does 6 damage straight to the face. Hunter, face damage, always good. That's a lot of face damage too. And as well as this being a mech is very good for things like Oblivitron. It's very good for things like actually just Oblivitron, because that's the only mech synergy that we're looking for. It's good for Ursatron, that's what it is, because Ursatron can tutor this out. So we do see some kind of draw engine going on with Ursatron, Claw Machine, and 9-livesing these cards out. That is using the card 9 lives. We'll say it like that. Using the card 9 lives to cheat these effects out and also put them back in your hand. This is also a really, really strong card to revive off of Jewel of N'Zoth. It's an 8 mana hunter card. Again, I have to reiterate that. It is very, very slow. This is a fast minion that you can revive off of that. Rush instantly for 6 damage. Draws you another card. I think this draw engine is very, very real in Hunter and gives them a lot of mid-range death rattle push. That's all. That's my spiel.
This reminds me a little bit about Evasive Feywing. First, I agree with your rating. I think this is a 3 mana card. This thing just has a lot of potential.
This is a 6 mana card, Taco. Yeah, you meant 3 stars.
What did I say?
You said 3 mana card.
It's a 3-star. It's a 3-star card. Being a 6 mana card, a 6 mana 6/3 kind of reminds me of Evasive Feywing, which is a 6 mana 5/3 with Divine Shield. But after you rush, instead of keeping the body, you get to draw a card and give it +3/+3. So it's like probably better than Evasive Feywing. And Evasive Feywing, while wasn't played in the meta,
Evasive Worm, right?
Worm.
Yeah,
you're right. I don't know
the 6 mana 5/3. Yeah, Divine Shield. Yeah, that's Evasive Worm.
It's probably a little bit better because you get that extra resource in your hand, which probably is better than the 5/3 that you have on the board. It has a lot of potential. I can see the scene play, being a mech and being a neutral. So maybe some N'Zoth. Some N'Zoth deck will probably play it.
Oh yeah, I guess that's pretty true. A N'Zoth deck could use this kind of to fuel themselves as well as reviving some kind of proactive effect. But so you think this will see play in a N'Zoth deck, but not the Death Rattle Hunter Jewel of N'Zoth deck?
Yes.
Okay, so
I don't think Jewel of N'Zoth by itself being an 8 mana card, right? It doesn't have a body. That's the biggest difference between
Jewel of N'Zoth
and Jewel of N'Zoth. Yes, Jewel of N'Zoth doesn't have a body.
I mean, it has 3. It has 3 bodies potentially.
Yeah, but it itself doesn't have. Like that makes a difference of how the comparison between it and N'Zoth kind of really differs.
Well, I mean,
N'Zoth,
you can choose what bodies to come off of it though, and it's okay. I think if you revive just 2 things, it's not even that bad. You can maximize it. You really don't think this is going to be good?
2 things is basically guardian animals without ramp. That's not good.
Sure. But we have Disruptive Secrets to get you there. We have early game. That's possible. We have a 3/3 we can play on 3.
Right, but you're always getting it on turn 8. See, that's like the big difference.
True.
Like if that was in Druid, for example, you get it a lot earlier. You have Lightning Bloom to cheat things out. It just seems too fair.
I'm convinced that this cycle package can keep up pressure while you are looking for these bigger endgame cards, such as Jewel of N'Zoth and Claw Machine and Tonk and stuff like that. I'm pretty hopeful for this. This is really, really reminiscent of Death Rattle Hunter from way back in the day, where they used secrets and the Spellstone to keep track of the board while they were putting together their endgame combo of charging damage, not rushing. Charging damage straight into the opponent's face with, what was it called? Charge Devilsaur and King Crush off of Kethrenum.
Oh, you're thinking about that one. Yeah. That has a finisher.
The finisher's Tonk, right? And the finisher's just like supreme board presence off of Jewel of N'Zoth. It's a little slower, sure, this time. You don't get an instant death, 0. Like, you don't get an instant, 13 to 0, like whatever health to 0.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of value, and I think this is pretty strong and has a lot of potential. We still do have 4 more cards from Hunter to see, as well as a bunch of neutrals. We can see what death rattles we can find from those. I'm hopeful. Let's move on to the first of the Paladin cards, the only Paladin card that was revealed this time.
Oh
my Yogg. Humorous, very humorous name. Just a few seconds ago, I figured out that this is a reference to Oh My God, and Yogg being the god. Just a few seconds ago. So this is a 1 mana Paladin secret, and the secret is when your opponent casts a spell, they instead cast a random one of the same cost. So this could be any spell of the same cost. So if you cast, for example, I was not ready to give an example.
Let's say like in Paladin, if you cast like a book, a Libram.
Sure. If you cast, for example, a Libram of Wisdom for 2 mana, you might instead get a Scavenger's Ingenuity, which will do absolutely nothing in your Paladin deck, in theory. So, yeah, Taco, this one is yours. Take it.
I mean, just that scenario seems like this has some potential, but overall, it's just too random. It's just like a worse counter spell, or sometimes it's a better counter spell. It's just a 1-star card. I don't think anyone's going to consistently, seriously run this unless something crazy. It's some crazy spells in the meta that you want to counter, but even then, it doesn't even counter it. It just replaces it with something else, which could be better or worse. Don't play this 1-star.
I've got it as 1-star as well. They still get the spell value for the mana they spent for the spell, and so that's one bad thing for it just in general. But this is like obviously a secret. We do have secret paladin stuff, with things like what was it? The Mysterious Blade, which is this, and stuff like that. But I just don't think this will be the aggressive paladin flavor of choice. I think Silverhand Recruits will probably be better than this secret paladin stuff. So yeah, 1-star.
1-star?
I'm going to keep this one quick. We're going to keep moving to Priest. Priest gets... Oh my god, this is out of order. This website is so weird sometimes. Is Priest card even here? Is this card even here? Yeah, it's palm reading, but I don't see it.
You can try it in the search bar. It might not be here.
It's not here.
So it's not official? Should we skip it?
No, it's official, but they didn't release it.
Okay.
It got released in their video. In the video they sponsored a YouTuber to release the video. Oh, there it is. Oh my god. I'm gonna keep that all in just to say this website sucks. I'm not even gonna cut that. Yeah, no cuts for that. Your website sucks, Hearthstone. You can figure it out. Palm Reading. Palm Reading is a 3-mana priest spell. Discover a spell. Reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1. This one's pretty easy. I think this is an easy 5 stars for priest. Renew is strong, and that discovers a spell. And this cheats a lot of mana, potentially, for the spells in your hand. Priest has been known to die with a full hand of absolutely nothing. Just a bunch of spells that do nothing, maybe too expensive. So I would like to see them kind of get these spells out of their hand, try and get something going on the board, perhaps. I do want to make a comparison real quick to Fate Weaver, which is the Galakron payoff card. It's a 4-mana 3/6 that reduces the cost of all cards in your hand by 1. That card is really strong. It's just that the Galakron package for Priest is not very strong, and they do not like to run that package. That package is very weak. Priest nowadays, they only consider just running the Galakron, and that's it. And some of them even cut Galakron altogether. So, yeah, I'm excited for Palm Reading.
Yeah, I'm not excited because it's Priest, but I think this is a 5-star card.
Oh, no Priest hate.
Discover spell is just good. Actually, I have a question about this card. The reducing the cost of spells in your hand by 1, does that happen after you discover, or does it actually? It reduces the thing that you discover as well.
Yeah. So how you actually read cards like this to figure out how they work is it's the order of the text. So if this said reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1, discover a spell, then it wouldn't do that, right? So the fact that it says discover a spell first, and then reduce the cost of spells in your hand should imply that you get the spell first and then the reduction happens.
Okay, because I read it like I thought like those two things happen after the card resolves,
which would really suck.
That handles same. Even if that was the case, I still think this is 5 stars. Like this card generation and just reducing things. We got Cobalt Spelkin. We got one. I keep getting these confused. Wandmaker gives you 1 mana. Gives you 1 mana spells. 1 out or 0 mana. And 0 mana stuff like just opens up a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if priest stays with their 1-cost spell generation, they do have a lot of ways. They do have a lot of 1-cost spells they really like. Holy Smite, Wave of Apathy, Renew. They would like to generate, and yeah, this just makes them all with 0 mana. Really good stuff.
Yep.
I will say that one more thing before we call it here, because this is kind of an easy card to review, is that Palm Reading is very, very close to doing what Renew currently does. Renew you sometimes play to search for an answer. And Palm Reading, it's a 3-cost that reduces whatever you're discovering by 1. So it's essentially a 2-cost Renew that doesn't heal your face, but decreases the cost of everything else in your hand. So 2 mana for Renew, 1 mana for renew. 2 mana for renew sounds a lot worse, but do you remember that it comes with a large hand discount as well as the discovering a spell for an answer type of effect. But yeah, let's move on to the other priest card, Auspicious Spirits. I'm gonna cut that one out. That was a little that was a little embarrassing.
Nah, leave it in. Leave it in.
Okay, I'll figure it out in post. Right, but Auspicious Spirits. It's a 4 mana corrupt card for priest. Summon a random 4-cost minion. If you corrupt it, summon a 7-cost minion instead. So the corrupt cost would be 4 mana, summon a random 7-cost.
4 mana, 7/7.
Is that what you think it'll be? This is yours, Taco. Take it.
Oh, this is mine? Yeah, this is a 1-star card. 4 mana, summon a 4-cost minion is just... it's just bad. Corrupting it, you get a 4 mana 7/7. I looked at 7-cost cards. You actually don't get a 7/7 on average, I believe.
You do not. I did.
Probably
I
get something
looked as
a little bit worse. It's just isn't good.
I looked at it as well. We got cards like Sociologist Militia. I have 1 star, by the way, 1 star. We got both Ancient of War, Ancient of Lore, both 7 mana 5/5s. We do have some interesting ones like Goru, Marsh Hydra, Winged Guardians, pretty good. But then we have some horrible ones like Verisa and Bran. And some other horrible ones like Dragoncaster. And the Valdris from Warlock. Yes.
Valdris. It's just...
We do have some good ones, but I don't think Priest... the other day when we were reviewing the Nameless one, I mentioned that Priest loves to do... is yearning for anything that is proactive. And this is pretty proactive. But it's yearning for proactive cards that can also be reactive at the same time, because Priest in general is just a very reactive class by style. And this is just not reactive at all. This is just trying to put stats in play, and these are stats that you cannot guarantee. So yeah, I have this as 1 star for being basically an arena card in my eyes. This also comes down...
I'm not sure if I would play an arena.
I
think this is a card. This is a really interesting card to have in a card pool just because of card generation.
Yes.
There's going to be times your opponent plays Renew, they play this, they cheat something, they corrupt it, they play something big.
Or palm reading.
Not saying it's the optimal play, but it's going to happen. Having that option in a card pool that's the only point of this card.
Yeah. This is just added kind of to generate, I feel like, as well. But yeah, let's move on to now Rogue. Rogue has a new card. Man, I gotta go look for the Rogue card now. Oh no, it's right here. It's right here. Cloak of Shadows. Oh, that was easy. Cloak of Shadows. It's a rogue 3 mana spell. And what it does is it gives your hero stealth for 1 turn. So I've got this at 2 stars, and this is a very generous 2 stars. I think it should be 1. I have it at 2 stars because it reminds me of Ice Block and Timeout from Mage and Paladin, respectively. Those cards themselves were very, very powerful. They created archetypes of their own in Freeze Mage and Shirvala OTK Paladin, as well as Uther OTK Paladin. So I can't give this 1 star knowing how powerful these 3 mana your hero's immune for the turn effects are, but it's really tough to imagine a rogue that would play this card right now. Rogues are very, very good at being proactive and ahead on board, so they don't often lose too much health. That's not them just daggering stuff down, them choosing in a sense to lose that health. So I don't see Rogue being pressured too much. I don't see any meta Rogues being pressured too much. This might be a meme card for a meme Rogue that's trying to stay alive for a combo. Maybe Malagos Rogue. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I have it pretty high as well, but for the same reasons that you said. I have it as a 3-star card. I think there might be something that will pop up where this could get played. I think there's still a couple of Rogue cards that we haven't seen. Much like the previous card, Cloak of Shadows is a super interesting card to have in a card pool, just because of spell lackeys, like you're getting beat down by the aggro opponents, you need to stay alive for 1 more turn. That spell lackey gives you the Cloak of Shadows. That's probably going to be its biggest use. I don't know if people put this in their deck.
Yeah, Soul Demon Hunter is something that I would love to discover this off of spell lackey for. But yeah, this is not something I would run in the deck, actually, because it's so weak into control decks, which aren't actually trying to hit you in the face, and are instead just trying to outlast you. Not worth talking about after that. So let's go to the other rogue card, which I still have to look for.
You can filter it by classes on top.
I could, right. Oh, I could. I should do that. Bless the gods. All right. I could filter it. That's sweet. Okay, so the other rogue card is Shadow Clone. It's a 2-mana rogue secret. So Shadow Clone is a secret that reads, after a minion attacks your hero, summon a copy of it with stealth.
Yep, this is probably going to be... Well, actually, this is pretty interesting. This might be a 2... I'm going to have this at 3 stars as well. I think that Secret Rogue or Miracle Rogue might want to run this for some weird tempo reason. It's also competing with a lot of cards, like the Poison guy is just better. What
Ambush?
am I thinking of? Ambush is probably just better. So maybe it doesn't fit in, but 3 stars, it has some potential in it. Being able to, like, this is also one of those cards that your opponent really has to think about what they're playing around. And I think a lot of rogue secrets in the current meta right now just aren't worth playing around. Sometimes you'll make a suboptimal turn because you don't want to get plagiarized. Bamboozle is completely out of the meta, and Dirty Tricks, nobody really cares if the rogue draws 3 cards like at that point. It's super interesting. I see some potential in it. Secret Rogue already has a base that's pretty strong, and it might see play. Space is the main issue.
I'm a little less optimistic than you are. I have this at 2 stars. And my notes, I have in my notes that Rogue is very good at being ahead on the board. And when you're ahead, people really only will value trade into you to keep you at bay, or they will only throw small minions at your face that couldn't trade or value trade into your minions. So it's very easy for them to play around this just by accident, and it's a very easy secret to test for as well. It's essentially, in that case, a very weak mirror entity, where you summon a very, very weak minion off of your opponent's decision, basically off of your opponent's, like your opponent can play around it very easily and give you a really small minion as well. I do have it at 2 stars and not 1 star, despite all of the trash talking I just did, because every secret that does get printed does accidentally buff the other secrets. Secret Rogue could very well include a copy of this and make it really confusing for the opponent, whether it's a Dirty Tricks, Plagiarize, or an Ambush. Bamboozle currently isn't being run, and I don't think it will see play. But
Yep.
Secret Rogue currently does, on this list on the left, right here, does run like 5 secrets. And I feel like if they wanted to, they could drop one of these and put in a Shadow Clone. The Secret Rogue on the right runs 4. They probably wouldn't consider it. But if you're playing the Eviscerate Miracle Rogue, this is Miracle Rogue. Yeah, if you're playing the Eviscerate version of the Miracle Rogue and you want this list you're playing, you could consider putting in a copy of Shadow Clone instead, just to confuse your opponent. But I don't think the effect is strong enough for you to actually want to do that. You could do that, and that's why I have it at 2 stars.
Yep. Oh, also the fact that the minion has stealth has some potential because your opponent's like, well, is this going to hit me in the face and then I'm going to die? So that's just something to consider.
The stealth is interesting, but it's still going to end up being a small guy, I think. Rather than, more often than not, it'll be a small guy than a big guy. This is a buff to Hanar, I think, giving you more options.
Right.
But Hanar is perfectly fine as is.
Sure.
So let's move on to the Warlock cards. Which would be, the first one is Ticketus. This is the card that I chose this episode to review specifically. I think this card is freaking interesting, for real. It's a 6 mana. First of all, it's a Warlock Legendary. This one is a 6 mana 8/8 demon with Battlecry. Remove the top 5 cards from your deck. And it's also one of the corrupt cards of Warlock. Corrupt. Remove the top 5 cards from your opponent's deck instead. So, I have Ticketus at 4 stars. And that's really high. Yeah, I know. This card looks really bad. It's a 6 mana card, no taunt, no lifesteal, no like proactive effect on board. I have it at 4 stars because I think I'm about to make a meta call. I think the meta will become slower, mainly because the old gods were printed and they're all 10 mana cards, and I trust Blizzard will not print 4 old gods and not have any of them see play. So I believe the meta will shift toward the slightly slower meta, one where Ticketus might be able to come out and actually mill one of the old gods from your opponent. I think also you can play a 2-card package in a control a control Warlock, where you just play Ticketus and Yashiraj, and just like maybe 1 or 2 cards to corrupt Ticketus, and just kind of wait until you can corrupt Ticketus, play Ticketus, and then play Yashiraj and replay Ticketus, and burn 10 cards from other opponents, kind of essentially automatically winning you control mirrors. And the only reason why I don't think this is 5 stars is because I think Zoo Warlock is capable of being a deck in this meta with Wicked Whispers, and so I don't think all Warlocks will run it, but I'm pretty positive that a control Galalock, like the one that I'm showing on screen right now, would probably run this. That's confusing for you, Taco, but I made a deck list beforehand, and I'm going to show it on screen in post.
All right, sure. This card, I just didn't see any potential in it. I think it's a 1-star card. I think we had cards like this in the past. Well, we definitely had a card like this in the past. I don't remember the name of it.
Rin,
it's the Death
the
Battle
first
guy.
disciple.
Rin,
right? The first disciple.
Rin took a really long time to set up. So the payoff card that you got from Rin didn't really matter because by that time, like either you were ahead or you lost. Occasionally it matters because you're playing against a priest, but this is just this is just really hard to evaluate. Like I could definitely see this being good if the meta does slow down. But really need a lot of formation.
Yeah, so it's interesting you brought up Rin, because Rin did see actual competitive play in a meta where you found yourself in the mirror quite often as a control lock back then. I believe control locks were playing some kind of cube variant with Void Lords and Gul'dan, and so milling like effects like Gnome Faradu and Rin, where you destroy the rest of the opponent's deck, were very valuable. Rin did ultimately actually take like 40 mana to fully cast, but the 10 mana 10/10 that came off of Rin would completely destroy your opponent's deck instead of just milling 5. And I think the difficulty of playing Rin is a lot higher than the difficulty of playing a similar effect with Ticketus. And I think Ticketus is a meta call. I think at some point in its standard lifetime, it will see play. If it's not next expansion, it will see play at some point.
Yeah, it's also the corrupt problem, but I think we kind of covered that a little bit. Galakron is a 7-mana card that does it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It might be a little bit difficult to consistently corrupt, but we'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I think, that's right. I completely forgot to mention, I think Galakron is an excellent card to corrupt Ticketus. And I do want to tell players in the future that are looking at Ticketus, maybe in their deck, you should just play this against aggro. Just straight up, no corrupt. It's a 6-mana 8/8 against aggro. Do not get trapped into thinking that the removing of the top 5 cards in your deck will matter at all, because you can imagine those top 5 cards are actually at the bottom of your deck instead. And if you draw into those cards, if you somehow get into that late game of a phase where you're drawing into those cards, you will probably have won against aggro, because that's so late in the game.
Actually, conversely, now that you mention it, like a 6-mana 8/8 against aggro. Like the way you beat aggro is that you beat them at their own game, especially when you're a control deck. If you're able to somehow do that by some miracle, and you have a 6-mana 8/8, you probably win a game.
Aggro decks like Soul Demon Hunter and Face Hunter have too much burn currently and too much ability to refuel. That it's hard to. That's why no pure control decks really actually exist in the Skullman's Academy meta. It's because they burn you so hard. So what you have to do is actually counter pressure them out of the game. So a 6-mana 8/8, pretty good at counter pressuring people. So yeah, please do play him on curve against aggro decks. If you have no better play him on curve.
And if you don't have a better play, think really hard. This might be the best play.
This might be the best play, yeah. Grit your teeth. Just grit your teeth and play it. It might suck, but it's not gonna suck actually. So yeah, let's move on to the next card, the other Warlock card that released today, Cascading Disaster. A 4-mana corrupt spell for Warlock. 4 mana, destroy a random enemy minion, corrupt, destroy 2, and corrupt again. If you corrupt this again, destroy 3 instead.
I had this at 3, but the more I think about it, it's probably not going to see play. This might be like a 2. I'll have it at 2 stars. It's really weird. I have to see a lot more of the set. Like, how are we consistently corrupting this? And then are there better things to deal with the opponent's board rather than waiting for Cascading Disaster to scale up to the point where it can actually wipe out your board? Of course, like this is just a powerful effect. It was really hard for me to gauge without like theory crafting a deck. Like, will this fit in?
Interesting.
We're probably gonna try it out. Like if control decks are good, probably gonna try it out. But
okay.
I'm not sure. I have this at 2 stars.
I I would have had this at 1 star, actually, if it were not for the fact that I believe Ticketus plus Yashiraj is an actual package that you can run. I think that this card is actually 2 stars for being very weak. I think I can gauge the power level of this pretty accurately by comparing to a card later. I think this card is very weak, but it'll only see play possibly if you think that you should run a copy for Yashiraj and Ticketus that turn. I think it's really weak, and the card I want to compare it with is actually the Rogue Spellstone from way back in the day. It was a 5-mana spellstone that did this exact same thing. Its upgrade condition was that you needed to play Death Rattle minions. I believe that it's roughly the same difficulty. Of course, that was removal for Rogue at 5 mana. That's not really that exciting. This is removal for Warlock at 4 mana. It's a little better sounding, but I do want to remind people that Plague of Flames is currently in rotation, and that is so much better than Cascading Disaster, because Control Galalox are they make tokens so easily from their Galakron Invoke, and then you just Plague of Flames and get you get essentially the fully up. You get to right. So let me clarify that. You make 3 minions very easily with Control Galalox, and then you Plague of Flames to destroy 3 random minions, right? That's what Plague of Flame does. And that's exactly the fully upgraded effect of Cascading Disaster. And so I think this effect is just not strong enough compared to Plague of Flames to see play. So I would have this at 1 star, if not for maybe considering it for Yashiraj.
Yeah, I agree. Plague of Flames is just better.
Mm-hmm. I think that was simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. Now we get to the neutrals. So I'm really holding out on these shaman cards. But yeah, let's do the neutrals first. Then we get to the shaman cards. So neutral number 1, Optimistic Ogre, is a 5-mana 6/7 neutral. And the text here is 50% chance to attack the correct enemy. So this is a typical Ogre, and for that I give it pack filler rating 1 star.
Yeah, 1 star. 5 mana 6/7, pretty big, but no one's gonna play this.
Nope, no one's gonna play this. All right, that was fast. I'm gonna keep this one short. This one has nothing really much to talk about. Unlike this card, which is Strongman, the other neutral, 7 mana 6/6 taunt. This is a corrupt card, by the way. So it's a 7 mana 6/6 taunt with corrupt. This costs 0.
Yeah, we really need more information to see how this is gonna work. I have it as a 3-star card. I just checked my notes because I wasn't really sure. 7 mana 6/6 0 cost is just huge. But of course, the problem is always how do I get there? What 8 mana card am I playing? I'm not gonna look at the standard rotation of what 8 mana cards are. I'm pretty sure none of them are that interesting. I believe Blizzard is probably gonna show us something that's pretty cool, and it might make this card better than what it seems right now.
Oh. Okay, you don't like this card? You don't like this card with our current information set?
Yes, I don't like what our current information set.
Okay, I do like this card with our current information set. I've got this card at 4 stars. It does look like pack filler when you look at it really fast, but I want to remind viewers or listeners of Anubisath Defender in Druid. A lot of Druids have considered Anubisath Defender for a variety of their decks. It's very easy to play a 5-mana spell for Anubisath Defender. It's a lot easier to do that than to play an 8-mana card for Strongman. But I do want to pull on Guardian Animals for Druid, Jewel of the N'Zoth for Hunter. The old gods are all 10 mana, and you would love to slam them onto the board and not die while doing so. So Strongman is something you can consider if you are kind of a vulnerable old god playing deck. 7 mana 6/6 is a little weird, but 0 mana 6/6 is a lot better. I think that's about it. We really do have to see if there's space in those decks for a card like this, and if there's enough card draw to be able to do that. I think Druid actually has enough card draw to play this right now. If they had access to this, I'm sure they would play this, and it would be very, very powerful. Because not only do you get that powerful GA swing, you also get a 0 mana 6/6 next to it. I think that's really strong enough. And also Ysera, you play Ysera and you get a 0 mana 6/6 next to it with Taunt. So yeah, Druid would love this effect. But yeah, this is enough holding out. We got 6 different Shaman cards to review now. That is every other thing, and for some reason, they decided to drop 6 Shaman cards on us today. Some of them aren't even showing up here, that's how new they are. The 3 of these cards got revealed in the last, 2 hours? And so we might have to move over to the Discord to show you those cards. But this is not the first card, I lied. The first card we're going to be reviewing is Magic Fin. Magic Fin is a 3-mana, 3/4 Murloc for Shaman. It reads, after a friendly Murloc dies, add a random legendary to your hand. So this is a very easy 1-star for me. Don't trade with your Murlocs. Just hit the opponent in the face. Your Murlocs do not have enough staying power for you to win the game on value of legendaries alone.
Yeah, there might be some... Oh, sorry.
No, finish. Go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, yeah. This is a 1-star card for me. There might be some potential with a mid-range Murloc. Actually, mid-range Murloc Shaman has kind of existed in the past, where we had that 2 Hagathas Shaman thing that Fish's Syndicate recommended. It was more mid-rangey. I mean, it's not. This isn't unusual for Blizzard to want to push, but overall, like, we kind of know what the other Shaman cards are, and we're looking at the direction that they're taking us in, and Murlocs is in it. So this is a 1-star.
Before we end this card, Nightmare Amalgam was run in Murloc Shamans before, and that was just a 3-mana 3/4 body. I would be interested in this card if Murloc Shaman had any place in our current meta, but Murloc Shaman is looking like a tier 5 or 6 deck, basically a deck that just doesn't exist. So I cannot give this Magic Fin anything more than 1 star. But yeah, let's move on to the next Shaman card, and this is a Shaman Legendary card, and it is a Shaman Legendary Totem. So we finally get our Legendary Totem that Ben Brode promised us almost like 3, 4, maybe 5, I don't know how many years ago. It's been so long, but we finally get our Shaman Legendary Totem. It's a Shaman 3-mana Totem, Grand Totem Eyesore. That is such a weird name, but I mean, that's so sad. How are you going to call this man an eyesore? It's not a man, it's a totem. How are you going to call this totem an eyesore? But yeah, Grand Totem Eyesore. It's this 3-mana 0/4 totem. At the end of your turn, give +1/+1 to all other totems in your hand, deck, and battlefield.
Yeah, this is a 1-star card. A lot similarly to the reasons that we mentioned before. I think Totem Shaman is like too far away from being a good deck, and I don't think 1 legendary minion is really going to do it. This is like Keleseth, except it's not really Keleseth because, well, I mean, the card says it's not going to buff everything because you're probably going to run cards that aren't totems. This is really interesting, but I can't give it more than a 1, knowing what Shaman cards that we're about to get.
Yeah, I know what the other Shaman cards are, and I've reviewed them, and I feel like Totem Shaman is just not the way to go. For this upcoming expansion. I will give this card 2 stars, actually, for being a very, very strong totem. It does fix some problems that totems have, in that they don't have attack, so they get traded into very easily. This gives them 1 attack. So they still get traded into very easily, but at least they're not just sitting there doing nothing and getting traded into. Totem Shaman currently sits at tier 3. I expect it to at least be playable. Tier 3, maybe tier 4. So I do give it 2 stars. But we have to see a lot more stuff for this totem-dedicated Shaman deck to actually see play. I don't think this will be run in any Shaman. Of course, it does need totem synergy to actually work, because if you run no other totems, this buffs nothing else. So this card specifically will not be run in any deck that is not Totem Shaman. But this card is very, very good. It's another good totem for Totem Shaman to be casting Totemic Reflection on. So yeah, 2 stars for that.
All right.
Yeah, let's move on to the good Shaman cards. Good card number 1, Cage Match Custodian. This is a 2-mana 2/2 elemental for Shaman. Battle Cry, draw a weapon. Wow, that is strong. It sounds so weak. It's got 1 line of text, but I want to... This is 5 stars, by the way. This is 2-mana 2/2 draw card. That's what it essentially says. And we do know that we did hear that Shaman will be getting this Enhancement Shaman archetype in this new set. And that's all about attacking with your weapon and getting synergies off of attacking, kind of like Demon Hunter does. And so tutoring a weapon out of your deck is a huge, huge deal for this new archetype. Easily 5-star effect. If a Shaman is going to be playable, this expansion, I think they need to lean on these new cards, and so I think they're definitely going to be running this card. Therefore, this is a 5 stars. I do want to say one thing more, and that is to get this effect in any other class currently, we have to play a quest, and then we have to play Questing Explorer on 2 in order to get this effect on 2 mana. And that's a 2-card combo where you have to sacrifice a card in the mulligan, as well as high roll into Questing Explorer in your mulligan in order to get the draw a card effect. And this is not draw a card. This is tutoring for a card that is probably like integral to your like actual game plan. So yeah, 5 stars.
Yeah, this is a 5-star card. I think the comparison would be like Corsair Cash pre-nerf. Like, how good was Corsair Cash in Warrior? Just in addition to giving that +1/+1, consistently being able to like play that weapon on curve, really push Warrior to tier 1 status. This is kind of similar, except instead of getting a +1/+1, you get a 2-mana 2/2 body. So you maintain tempo while tutoring a weapon and then just snowballing from there. If this enhanced Shaman thing is good, this is definitely going to be played in it. This is a 5-star card.
Yeah, and right at the end you said something about curving straight into the weapon, which is a perfect segue, thank you, Taco, into the next card, which is Whack a Null Hammer. A 3-mana weapon. Perfect curve from the 2-mana card that we just reviewed. A 3-mana 3/2 weapon for Shaman, which reads, after your hero attacks, give a random friendly minion +1/+1. This one's yours, Taco.
Yeah, well, if the previous card was a 5-star card, then based off of criteria, this is also a 5-star card. I mean, those two things will live and die together. 3-mana 3/2, it's a Fiery War Axe, which is not great, but it's okay, it's playable. But that extra effect of buffing can really just make your board big. I don't really know what to say about this card besides what's already written on it.
It's good. It's a good card. Yeah, you don't really have to say much. It's a 5-star card for me as well. I see this, and I think not a Fiery War Axe, but I think more of Eaglehorn Bow, which is a very integral part of Secret Hunters. This should be a very integral part of Enhanced Shamans. Think of a curve as simple as playing the 1-mana Elemental that's currently in Shaman. It's a 1-mana 1/3. I forgot the name. I'm really usually very good with names. And I forgot the name because we don't play Shaman. But it's this Surging Tempest. You play this on 1. You play the 2/2 that tutors weapon on 2, and you've got a 1-mana 1/3, a 2-mana 2/2, and a 3-mana 3/2 weapon that's ready to buff anything on your board. And that is really good. I can see Shaman already having a decent like proactive start in their kit already with just these cards, just these 3 cards. Cage Match, Custodian, Whack-A-Null, and Surging Tempest. Of course, there are other 2-mana cards you'd be interested in playing, maybe like a Diligent Note Taker. That's a strong card that hasn't seen play in Shaman at all. Oh, well, actually, it hasn't seen play because Shaman hasn't seen play. But this is a strong individual card I'm looking to play in this deck as well, maybe on 2. And this is just a 5-star card. We still have 3 more cards in Shaman to see, and I'm excited to see what they could be because I want to see the rest of this enhancement package. But anything more to add, or can I go on to the next broken card?
Let's do the next one.
All right, next one is Deathmatch Pavilion. I said broken, but I'm just gonna call it 5 stars. Is actually what it is because any Shaman is gonna take whatever they can get this expansion. But yeah, Deathmatch Pavilion is a 2-mana Shaman spell. And what it does is it summons a 3/2 duelist, and if your hero attacked this turn, summon another 3/2 duelist. This is 5 stars. Easy 5 stars for me actually here. The card I want to compare to when we're talking about this card is actually Satyr Overseer from Demon Hunter, which is a 3-mana 4/2, which summons a 2/2 if you attack. So that's almost exactly what this card does. This card is 1 mana less for 2 3/2s, which is the exact same stats you would get from Satyr Overseer and attacking. Satyr Overseer usually comes down as a 4-mana card, actually, because you have to play him and then attack with your hero power in Demon Hunter. That was a really strong card that didn't see play this expansion. It saw a lot of play last expansion when Demon Hunter was playing this tempo Demon Hunter that was really oppressive for Ashes of Outland. This is really, really strong. I really don't expect this card to not see play at all, especially since we just reviewed this very strong 3-mana weapon over here, Whack-A-Null Hammer. this curves okay-ish into that. It also comes down on turn 4. It comes down on turn 4 with a 3/2 weapon that buffs one of your minions, as well as just being... this is just stats. Stats are great. And you have 2 mana to do whatever you want on the side. 5 stars.
Yep. So this is a 5-star card, and it really, like, we're giving these things a really high star rating because based off of our system, it says if this card is good within the archetype, it will see play. I'm not entirely sure about the archetype, but it's too early to rule it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this goes in that goes in that deck where you run those previous 2 cards, and stats are good.
Yeah. Super proactive shaman is what I'm looking forward to playing. I will say that it is not always. It is a little. I'm a little skeptical because we do have, again, I have to keep reminding you guys every episode, Shard Shatter Mystics in the meta. That clears your entire early board if your buffs don't land in the right places with the hammer. And we have this new Warlock card, the Fire Breather, that does 2 damage to everything that isn't a demon. And so your Pavilion duelists, your duelist could actually just die to a Fire Breather. As strong as this card actually is, it does just die on curve to a Fire Breather, which is a little sad, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I'm really hopeful for Shaman. I just haven't played Shaman in a long time. I miss Shaman. But yeah, let's move on to the next card, which is the last card of this episode. Inara Storm Crash, a shaman, the other shaman legendary that's not a 1-star totem. This is a 5 mana 4/5. On your turn, your hero has +2 attack and Wind Fury. Go ahead, Taco.
Yeah, this is a 5-star card. If it's that theme of this aggressive shaman thing that we're very likely to see, but I think that this is probably a little bit better than the other 2 cards in the sense that this is a standalone. It's not terrible. 5 mana 4/5, you get +4 attack out of your hero. And so it's that thing that Dara always says, what's good in this game, being able to play something on the board while removing stuff on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Wind Fury too. So you're not doing 4 damage to potentially one thing. You can clear two cards potentially, or you can just hit your opponent in the face for lethal. This thing has a lot of potential. I think this will see play if Shaman is good. Regardless of what. Yeah, regardless of what class it is. Or archetype it is.
Yeah, this is a 5-star Shaman card in general, I think. I agree with you that this was likely to see play in almost all of the Shamans that would exist. And the thing I want to compare this with, the card I want to compare this with, is actually Doomhammer. This is a 5 mana Doomhammer that doesn't overload you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good enough, I think. And it comes with a body. It comes with a 4/5 on top of it. So that's really damn good. I cannot believe they printed Doomhammer on on a body, essentially, without overload too. I will say, yes, Doomhammer does have 6 more charges, but just the effect of Inara Storm Crash should guarantee that you're able to at least stick her for maybe 1 turn, 2 turn. I will say that this is a must remove on the opponent's side. They're they must remove this, or else you're going to get more and more attack synergies as well as more and more damage off of this card. It's a lot of damage. It's not an insignificant amount of damage. 4 attack is something that Soul Demon Hunter is doing right now with Marrow Slicers, and they're pushing face damage really, really fast. And this is the same thing for Inara Storm Crash. I expect the Shaman to do the same thing that Soul Demon Hunter is doing, where they push face damage, and this looks like an excellent card to keep up that pressure. Speaking of must removes, it does have 4 attack, really annoying for priests. Another very good, excellent, extra little point of detail for why this card is so good. But yeah, 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to the end of the episode. This is the end of episode 5. Tomorrow, we are getting 64 cards of whatever that is. We'll figure out how Taco and I will figure out how to do the rest of those cards. But before I let you go, I'm going to give you the question again. What class do you think is currently doing the best?
Yeah, so we gave Shaman a lot of 5 stars, but I'm still a little bit skeptical about Shaman just because it seems like there are things in this meta that counter Shaman pretty well. Mm-hmm. Priest got palm reading, which is pretty good, but then they got Auspicious Spirits, which is pretty bad. So it's like 1 step forward, 1 step back. I don't think it really changed much. I think it's still the same. I think our Paladin King is He's
raining. He's raining.
Still rolling. He's still raining. I
Right.
don't think anyone's taken him down yet.
I've got a tie coming in for myself, at least. I'm unsure whether Paladin is doing the best, or is it Hunter doing the best with this new Jewel as a top end, or is it maybe the Shaman stuff we just reviewed? Shaman is really proactive suddenly, all of a sudden. Not only that, it did get that coveted card draw that it's looking for in this cage match Custodian. I'm willing to see what Shaman's got for us tomorrow in the last 3 cards. But it looks pretty strong right now. We do have Burn in Shaman currently, also really synergistic with this idea of pushing face damage early and then kind of ending with Burn. Very efficient burn options like Lava Burst. And the last thing, I actually see Warlock being very sweet. Whether that be Zulok or this Control Gala Lock that I've theory crafted with Ticketus in it. I think any control deck in the meta is going to be really scared of this Warlock. Most importantly, I think Control Priest with Galakron is not the clear winner anymore of control matchups. They cannot always generate infinite value when they are taking fatigue damage at super high levels while you're controlling them. And so Ticketus catches my eye. I'm very wary that Ticketus could be actually a 1-star card, never seeing play, but I'm willing to see.
All right.
Anything else before we end? Are you ready for tomorrow? Is the question that I actually want to ask you.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually a holiday for me, so I'm excited to see that card review. Watch that card review.
It is a holiday. It's Veterans Day.
It is Veterans Day.
It's Veterans Day for me as well. So maybe I will not catch you tomorrow exactly, but we'll figure out how to record this. It's going to be a mess. But yeah, until tomorrow, I'll see you guys for episode 6.
All right. Bye.
Bye.